Gabalia, and we're coming live from the CNN News 18 Federal Bank Primetime Studio. Our big focus, of course, is on the cabinet meeting that is underway at 7 Lok Kalyan Marg, and we've picked up the first visuals of the cabinet meeting. You can see a round table meeting of sorts taking place, and all the big names, the big faces can clearly be spotted. While yesterday was all about the forecourt of Rashtrapati Bhavan, the venue where the Prime Minister was sworn in alongside 72 other Council of Ministers, today is all about 7 Lok Kalyan Marg, the Prime Minister's official residence, where the NDA government is holding its first cabinet meeting. Today is all about which of these 72 will be handed the responsibility of the key ministries. This, remember, is crucial in deciding the direction in which Modi 3.0 moves forward, and also key in understanding the approach of this coalition government led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But the tone is set, and it's indicative in the manner in which we saw the Prime Minister start his day earlier this morning at South Block. Remember, even before the swearing-in ceremony commenced yesterday, the Prime Minister narrated his expectations to the union ministers to execute the government's key agenda for the first 100 days. We're learning that presentation on part of the union ministers to execute the same will begin next week onwards, and it's very clear that the new coalition government is going to be expected to recalibrate Prime Minister Modi's existing plans for his third term. The question is, are there any odds stacked up against this government, or will the Prime Minister be able to turn a coalition to his advantage given the plans he has for the government in his third tenure? We'll take this up with our experts joining us and also tell you all about the big names and ministries expected shortly. But before that, let's quickly start with how the Prime Minister swung into action today on day one, hours after the oath-taking ceremony yesterday. Let's talk about the big announcement that came in from the NDA government, showcasing government's full commitment towards Kisan welfare. The Prime Minister signed a crucial file today. What the signing of the file meant was the release of 17th installment of Kisan Samman Nidhi Yojana. Remember, the scheme was launched in 2019 first, a little ahead of the previous Lok Sabha elections. And with the release of the 17th installment of Kisan Nidhi Yojana, 9.3 crore farmers are set to benefit from it. So the number of beneficiaries on your screen is very clear, 9.3 crores. An amount of 20,000 crores will be distributed among 9.3 crore farmers. How is this distributed? An amount of 6,000 rupees is transferred annually in 3 equal installments of 2,000 directly into the Aadhaar seeded bank accounts of the farmers. So a total of 20,000 crore rupees. With this big move, what the Prime Minister has essentially done is he sent a message of Kisan Kalyan and farmers' welfare and labelled it as the NDA's top priority. So that's the first big step taken by Prime Minister on day one at South Block. Those were the visuals that we spotted. Now, let's also take a look at the big highlights of Prime Minister's first address to the PMO officials today after his oath ceremony yesterday. Here's the message he sent out and the vision he has in place for the PMO.
पीएमओ एक शक्ति का केंद्र है, एक बहुत बड़ा पावर सेंटर है। पीएमओ शक्ति केंद्र बने, ये न मेरी इच्छा है न मेरा वो रास्ता। हमने इसको एक कैटलिक एजेंट के रूप में ही डेवलप करने की कोशिश की है। वो कैटलिक एजेंट के यहाँ से ऊर्जा प्रसारित होती रहे, यहाँ से नई नई चेतना प्रसारित होती रहे, जो पूरे तंत्र के अंदर एक प्रकार से विद्युत की तरह नई चमक दे, नई रोशनी दे, नई सामर्थ्य दे। और मेरी कोशिश रही है कि पीएमओ ये सेवा का अधिष्ठान होना चाहिए।
We promise we'll not keep you waiting. We'll flash those pictures from the cabinet meet in just a bit. But there are other aspects that have to be spoken of. Will the new NDA government under Prime Minister Modi achieve its dream of Viksit Bharat smoothly, or will there be challenges or hurdles in its path? Let's decode some of the challenges that this coalition government may face. Taking allies along on contentious issues like UCC and Agnipath, for example, is going to be a challenge in itself, especially given how parties like the JDU, remember, have shown interest in reviewing the Agniveer scheme. The BJP will need to balance its agenda with coalition partners. Expectations on these two issues, remember, are going to be there from the allies. So how the BJP deals with it is also going to be interesting. With a strengthened opposition in Lok Sabha, passing legislations also could be a little difficult than before. The government may face several criticism, a lot of criticism from the opposition ranks, making it difficult to push through bills without debate. And that's what the opposition, remember, has been rejoicing as well. Now, remember how there are several reports internally that point out how the hearts of BJP and RSS cadre have soared in the recent past, especially in states like Uttar Pradesh, and especially given the mandate that's come in from UP. So maintaining cohesion will be on top of BJP's mind to ensure that the internal dynamics don't dent the party. Talking about Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra, that's also going to be key. Because the results of some of the assembly elections going forward are going to be interesting, and that's going to be an indicator on how the Modi government is performing and the right approach to deal with the coalition, to talk about the allies that have significantly contributed to the coming together of this government. That's also something that's going to be very, very interesting. Adopting to new realities, taking the right approach to deal with coalition partners will be crucial for Prime Minister's ability to readjust and also lead effectively. Which brings us to the big question this evening. What does Modi 3.0 mean for this country? With the Kisan Nidhi announced already, has the NDA government started on the right note? Is this the right beginning for NDA for the third tenure of Prime Minister Modi?
मैं नरेंद्र दामोदर दास मोदी ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि मैं राजनाथ ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं विधि द्वारा
सच्ची श्रद्धा और
We came with the idea that we want to make AP #1 state in the country, and we want complete cooperation from the government of India, and it has been promised by Modi.
प्रधानमंत्री का विशेषाधिकार है, जो मंत्री पद देंगे उसको धारण करेंगे।
Let's quickly, on that note, open this up with our political experts joining us this evening. We have Pooja Tripathi, spokesperson of the Congress, with us, along with a senior fellow IPCS, Abhijit Iyer Mitra. Also with us, a senior journalist, Sanjeev Srivastav. Radhika Khera of the BJP will be joining us in just a bit. My first question is to Abhijit, though. We're keeping up with these visuals coming in from 7 Lok Kalyan Marg of the first cabinet meeting of NDA of Modi 3.0. Visually very powerful, Abhijit. You know, what do you make of this? How solid does Modi 3.0 look to you?
Thanks. Look, it looks really solid, and I'll tell you why. Everything since he got elected, Modi's just been portraying power, power, and more power. There's no sense of, amongst the supporters, there was a great sense of defeat or shok cha gaya tha kind of attitude. And you don't see that in the cabinet, right? From what I've been hearing, Modi's first speech, this was, not these visuals that you're showing today, but before the oath-taking ceremony is, that he apparently asked everybody to prepare for breakneck reforms coming through. You look at his own record in Gujarat. There were the 3 terms as chief minister. The first had almost no reforms. The second had lots of reforms. The third was breakneck galloping reforms. I think Modi performs best when he's under pressure. Okay. I think a government like this, which is said to be precarious, I don't think it's precarious, but it's said to be precarious, with heaps of fire from the opposition, is when Modi will perform to his hilt.
Okay, he performs best under pressure, is what Abhijit thinks. Pooja, what about you? How would you look at these visuals coming in? Everybody's really waiting for the big names, the list that is expected shortly of who's going to make it to which ministry. But as we a wait in anticipation on what's going to happen on that front. What do you make of these visuals? The cabinet at large, the kind of distribution that we've seen, many call it a sign of continuity and also diversity. And performers have been rewarded surely. But the opposition is still not quite content. And since day one, they've been saying that Modi doesn't quite enjoy the mandate.
I think we should stop calling it Modi 3.0 because it's an NDA government. Let's call it NDA 3.0. Modi ji could not lead his party to a resounding mandate, to a major victory, and that's where they could not form their government on their own. Bharatiya Janata Party don't have the seats, so let's call it NDA 3.0. We are waiting for the portfolios to be distributed because there's a lot of business to be taken care of. There's been a ghastly terror attack yesterday, and 9 people have died and 33 have been injured, and then there not has been a word of condemnation from our Prime Minister Modi ji. And while he answers to Prime Minister of Pakistan, extends his wishes. And that's where 27 lakh people, NEET aspirants are on the street demanding a re-examination, and NTA is not giving any satisfactory answer. We look at the, whatever you call it, Modi 3.0, we would like to call it NDA 3.0. There's a JDO which is asking for Agnipath scheme to be revamped. There's a speaker post which is up for grabs, and TDP and BJP are fighting up for it. We have the TDP manifesto which not only promises the 4% reservation, securing the 4% reservation, it promises a stipend for Maulana, it promises various kinds of reservation schemes for Muslims. I don't know what Bharatiya Janata Party would be taking care of. Okay. And now today, there has been serious allegations on Bharatiya Janata Party IT cell chief, and Bharatiya Janata Party as a party should come out and give clarifications on that, because it's not somebody, there's somebody from the ranks, between the ranks. Somebody from RSS has put out this grave allegations of sexual misconduct against their IT cell chief, and there has been no word from anybody. And because we don't have a WCD minister yet, I expect the Bharatiya Janata Party to take a disciplinary action, because that it has come from inside.
Okay, all right. You've spoken of a host of issues, Pooja. I did want you to comment a little bit about, the decisions that have been taken already on day one, and, for example, the 100-day plan, so on and so forth. But I'll perhaps put that out to Sanjeev Srivastava in just a bit. But before that, Radhika, you just heard Pooja say that there's a lot that needs to be addressed still. She's talking about a possible tussle between the Bharatiya Janata Party and the TDP for the speaker's post, saying there are those who are quite unhappy with the manner in which, the decision on cabinet berths and cabinet ranks have been taken. So all of that is something that the BJP is trying to fight hard on, and that's why perhaps the announcement on portfolios on the ministries is taking so long.
Namaskar to everyone. First of all, the Indian National Congress, they're calling it the NDA 3.0. See, this is where they start going wrong. How can they technically also call it the NDA 3.0? Because this is the first NDA government. Earlier, 2 governments were completely by the BJP government, but we had coalition partners along. So here, that's where the starting is only galat. So, madam, let me again remind you that this is Modi 3.0, because Modi ji again is the Prime Minister. The new government, the Modi NDA government, exemplifies powerful and visionary leadership. And it is a resounding mandate. I will repeat myself. It is a resounding mandate for a 3rd term for Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. And because the Bharatiya Janata Party got over about 240 votes, which again is much more than the entire votes of the India Alliance put together. Now, having said that, when we talk about that the questions coming in that abhi tak the portfolios haven't been given, what is the hurry? Why is the Indian National Congress in a hurry for everything? They should hold their own house together.
Perhaps the expectation was set on the 2019 formula, Radhika. That's why everybody was waiting for it since late last night. Yeah.
Absolutely. See, every government is different. The 2014 government was different. 2019 government is different. 2024 will obviously be different. And our next government after this will also be different. Every time with the change in power, with the change in surroundings and the issues, there will be a change. Now, this government is going to go from economic reforms to infrastructural development to the robust policies and decisive actions that, for transforming India on multiple fronts. Now, the Indian National Congress needs to hold their horses. And the spokesperson here was talking about harassment, women harassment, about claims that a certain person has made on our IT cell chief. Well, remind you, I left the party and I made a complaint on women harassment, and no one in the party had the guts, and I speak again with complete honesty and जिसे कहते हैं ना कि बिल्कुल When I complained, I'm a living example sitting here, when I complained about harassment, I was locked up in the Congress office in Chhattisgarh. Not one person had the spine, and the same Supriya Shinit who's doing a press conference today had the spine to come up and speak for me. I'm the spokesperson sitting here. So please, first mend your own house, then come and put blame on others. Every time a woman has complained in the Congress office, she has either been forced to leave the party or an action has been taken against her. And she has been suspended or thrown out from the party.
Okay.
So first, mend your own house. And also, I would like to leave a message to the Indian National Congress and the India Alliance. Keep your own house together. The Aam Aadmi Party has already left. BD is already showing eyes. The RJD and the Bihar Congress are already fighting and blaming each other. Is your house going to be together, that you keep your eyes focused on us? Manage your own house and then look at our alliance.
Okay, Radhika, you've been extremely vocal about the issues you faced within the party, and you're once again putting that out to Pooja. But like I said, I want to perhaps let this settle for a while, give you both a little time before I come back to you and go across to Mr. Sanjeev Srivastava. Mr. Srivastava, I was asking about the two important decisions made on day one. One is, of course, the details that we broke of the Kisan Samman Nidhi, you know, the 17th installment that's been announced by the Prime Minister. That's the first file signed by him on day one after he was sworn in yesterday as the PM for a third consecutive term. And of course, next is also housing for all. That's also another decision that's been taken on day one itself. We're learning of a draft that's already been signed, taking that aspect forward. How do you see this government already acting up on things that it said it promises to the people over the next 5 years? And not to forget the kind of 100-day plan that the Prime Minister has already conveyed to his Council of Ministers. And this was over the Chai Pe Charcha, the tea program, not even today in the cabinet meeting.
I think they are welcome signs. And frankly, what else did you expect? Did anyone expect that after taking oath yesterday evening, today would be a day where there will be no decision or the Prime Minister will not do anything? I am sincerely saying it's a good decision. Farmers have been on their agenda. So have been youth, women, the 4 pillars they have been talking about. So it's a great decision and something we already knew will happen. And the Prime Minister is also, in the same breath, I would like to say, is a great one for optics. So both that signing of the file as well as his address to the PMO, which was supposed to be the fountainhead of all power from 2014 to 24, suddenly today he has said he wants it to be the people's PMO. And in his address to the bureaucrats and officers of the PMO, he also said something to the effect that not all power has to flow from here, it has to work like a catalyst, which is completely in contrast to the perception one had from 14 to 24, that the PMO directs all ministries as to how to go forward, gives instructions. There is a very close follow-up, which was nothing wrong with that. But this message which the Prime Minister is trying to send is of one of decentralization, which is again a welcome thing.
Never before
because the challenge before this government is,
never before have we seen a Prime Minister, for example, credit his office, the PMO, the manner in which the Prime Minister did. So whether it works out for him or not is secondary. But the fact that he's come out to say that you've done a great job and there's lots more that needs to be done, how is it not a welcome move?
No, it is a welcome move. I am saying just it's a change of stance. That he is saying it's people's PMO and that he's talking, again the thing about is that he is somewhere addressing the concerns or admitting the reality that it is a coalition government. It's not 2014 to 2024 type of a setup. This government will require a lot of give and take, lot of taking along of the allies. And if the Prime Minister is able to do that, and why shouldn't he be able to do that, though he has never done that from 2002 to 24, but if he adapts himself to the new circumstances, I don't see with 240 MPs, there should be a great problem. But the BJP will have to learn to give in to the allies. They will have to concede important posts. It cannot be just like we will keep all the plums and the greater, more powerful post. Speaker is a very powerful post.
Mr. Sanjeev Srivastava, nobody staged a contention on that so far. In fact, they've very conveniently settled for a 1+1, talking about the contribution that TDP and JDU, for example, have made. And they've been quite okay with the fact that they have 1 cabinet berth and 1 MOS berth, and they're quite convinced. So optics at least don't suggest that they're not okay with it.
both Naidu and Nitish Kumar are equal, if not more experienced and seasoned in politics.
Okay.
So just hold your horses.
Okay.
जिसको हिंदी में बोलते हैं उनके खाने के दांत और दिखाने के और हो सकते हैं. I don't know कि whether it will happen like that. But just don't go by the optics of the allies as well.
Flip-flops
There may be very hard bargaining happening in private.
May just be repeated. Abhijit, do you think the Prime Minister will have to be wary of the kind of alliance that the NDA sees this time around, especially given the manner in which both TDP and the JDU have been very firm on their demands, and at times that's also led to them parting ways with the Bharatiya Janata Party. So that may just be a trouble in the making, not as yet, but in the future one can't rule that out. And like Mr. Srivastava is saying, that the BJP will have to take the allies together.
See, they'll have to take the allies together if the allies decide to come together. You see, individually, with 296, each one of them, TDP or Nitish, just don't have the numbers to pull the government down. So if they want to be taken together, that is the only time they can actually threaten the government.
Okay.
And I think Modi is a past master at playing divide and rule even with this. So, you know, I'm not entirely convinced by this argument that Modi is hamstrung in any way. The numbers don't support it at any rate.
Okay, all right. Pooja, would you want to quickly comment on that and give us an opposition view?
Very quickly.
Okay, before Pooja, Sanjeev ji.
Very quick, one sentence, if you don't mind. Such a kind of a warning red flag with Abhijit has just given out that Modi is a master of divide and rule. That is why the TDP will not concede the speaker's post to BJP. Nobody wants their parties to be broken and the speaker to be giving a ruling which is favorable to BJP. So the allies are likely to insist on
and do you think that's why they've so conveniently settled with a 1+1 so far? That they're going to bargain for a speaker's post and bargain hard?
Madam, the government is only 4 days old or 5 days old. It may all be very smooth, it may all be very turbulent. I am not a soothsayer. But it's very early days to decide either way. Okay. The allies can bare their teeth, the allies may choose not to. Mr. Modi may well take everybody along, he may decide to be recalcitrant. So we'll have, it's a developing situation. Okay,
developing situation, it can go either way. And that's what one's braced for. One's really wanting to wait and watch and see how, you know, the coming together of this kind of a government is going to play out. And how efficient is this government going to be really? And like was said by, you know, all of you, this is a new challenge for the Prime Minister. Challenge in the sense that he's not been acquainted to this sort of a setup. We've seen since 2001 up until now, the Prime Minister has always been at the helm of a majority government. So that, Radhika, is going to be a challenge, whatever one may say. However, you know, we do see Nitish Kumar and Chandrababu Naidu seated right next to him as far as, you know, these host of meetings are concerned, and everybody sending out those positive gestures. But the fact of the matter is this is new territory for the Prime Minister.
Absolutely, and it was new territory for Shri Narendra Modi ji when he became the Chief Minister of Gujarat, but he managed it extremely well. He's been the longest serving Chief Minister of Gujarat and of the country. So every time he's been faced with challenges, he's come out with flying colors. Then everybody said that, oh, he will not be, and it was a new territory when he became the Prime Minister for the first time in 2014. And people questioned him that he will not be able to manage things on the international front. He will not be able to run a country well. He led 2 successful governments back to back. And mind you, he is the only Prime Minister after Shri Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru ji who's been sworn in for the 3rd term. So he has come out with flying colors each time. And you know, as much as the opposition and the India Alliance and their supporters want to say, कि भाई Nitish Babu तो भाग जाएंगे and Naidu Babu भी भाग जाएंगे, please let me remind them that they gave their support in, you know, you have to go by a person's words. And let me remind you of Naidu ji's words. I'm in politics for 40 years. I have seen many leaders. I give the entire credit to Modi ji for making India proud globally. That is his biggest achievement for the country. And he has made India the 5th largest economy in the world. Also, this is the proud... Sir, I did not interrupt. I request you to kindly listen to what I'm saying.
No,
this is the proudest moment of my life.
But go ahead. He wasn't interrupting.
This is the proudest moment of my life. That is also what he said. And he also said that NTR said, I know only humanism, and that vision only Modi ji has. And I thank him for that.
Okay, so all's well.
Nitish Kumar ji, we saw
the picture looks extremely positive. Radhika, everybody's seated next to one another and everybody's all smiles as far as this cabinet meet is concerned. But again, the big question one is watching out for really is who gets what, because that's going to be decisive in how this government moves forward. Pooja, to quickly come to you, a lot of things were being said by the opposition right after the mandate, the big 2024 verdict, isn't it? That the BJP is not going to be able to flex its muscles. It's time for the opposition. The opposition is going to have a huge say. One is, of course, the opposition didn't turn up for the oath-taking ceremony. And the opposition has always said that, here's a government that doesn't really give in to what the opposition wants, doesn't listen to the people of the country. Democracy has been in danger under Modi 2.0. And now that we see a coalition coming together, we've seen the same approach from the Congress party. A, that. B, much was being said about how, the BJP is going to have to give up. And that's what Mr. Sanjeev Srivastava also said. They'll have to make way for the others. But the 85%, as far as the cabinet berth allocation is concerned, doesn't quite suggest the same. Everybody is okay with the BJP having the lion's share.
So we have to look at what we are looking at in the front. There must be a lot of closed door. This is a Nitish dependent or a Naidu dependent alliance, and I'm sure they are very seasoned politicians to not take 1+1 cabinet portfolios. We have seen Mr. Naidu backed out of NDA in 2018 on the demand of special status. We have seen Nitish ji flipping from NDA once or maybe twice, if my memory serves me right. Just now Radhika ji was mentioning Naidu ji's words. In 2019, he said that Modi Shah should not be trusted, and it's people who are the power and they will show them their place. So when we are saying from 400 par to 300 par, then you have been reduced to 240. Narendra Modi ji has run a successful majority government, no doubts on that. But now he has to learn that governments are run by debate, discussion, consensus, coordination, and this is how govern. He cannot come one day and announce a demonetization. There must be a lot of that must be going on the backdoor settlements. And the day they pull out of the government, they have done it in the past. 2018, Naidu has pulled out. Nitish cannot be trusted for not pulling out of the governments and the alliances.
Okay, so last 30 seconds to Abhijit. I need to head into a very quick break. Abhijit, should the BJP be wary of the flip-flops?
Not very. They just need to be careful about their ally management. That's about it.
Okay, just be careful about the allies management. You will have to give in somewhere, you will have to give up somewhere, and that's how it's going to go on for the next 5 years. There are those who come out to say it's not going to be 5 years, it's just going to end at 1 or 2 years. So whether or not we're going to see that picture emerge also remains to be seen. But many thanks to all of you for joining us and holding this discussion. All eyes really on 7 Lok Kalyan Marg, and we head into a very quick break with that. But don't go anywhere. Coming up after a very short break, terror strikes Jammu Kashmir's Reasi. Even kids were not spared. Will the dialogue lobby still want talks with Pakistan? That's the question we will debate up next. Don't go anywhere. A very good evening. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Tritsween Walia. Let's now shift our attention to the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. A deadly terror attack took place in Reasi hours before the new government was taking oath. On Sunday, we saw terrorists strike in Reasi, far away from the line of control that had been peaceful for the past 2 decades, almost 2 decades. This attack was staged on a bus carrying pilgrims from Shiv Khodi in Jammu and Kashmir's Reasi. It's now sounded alarm bells for security agencies in the Union Territory as it points to terrorists expanding their area of operation beyond the border districts of Rajouri and Poonch in the otherwise peaceful Jammu region. But there's more news that we're picking up with regards to what police sources, JNK police sources have informed your channel. They've told CNN News 18 that instructions of the Reasi-like attack were given very recently. So clear instructions were passed out. Agencies working to corroborate the evidence now. Remember, an investigation has been ongoing ever since. There was a tasking which was done by Lashkar commander, and we've picked up a name as well. This is Sergeant Jat. He was the one who in fact sent out these instructions. Local Lashkar outfit TRF was tasked with this plot. They in fact came out to claim responsibility as well of the same hours after the attack unfolded in Jammu and Kashmir. Agencies are now probing if prior information on the Yatri's travel route was sought, if these Yatris, their travel plans were being monitored by the terror groups. And desperate attempts really by terrorists to attack pilgrims. We're seeing a repeat of what we've seen in the past, though what's concerning this time around is that it's not been seen in this belt of Jammu, in the Reasi Mahor area. This area has been largely peaceful. It's only the last 4 or 5 years that we've seen some sort of terror activity in this part of Jammu and Kashmir as well. Shiv Khodi temple was also under the radar of terror groups, and that's what's concerning the security agencies. Keeping in mind, though, these terror threats, the security of the temple was increased after an intel input was pushed out just last month. So that's what we know as far as the backgrounder to this attack is concerned, but very concerning indeed. And that's why we asked this question. Remember, there are those who have constantly batted for talks with Pakistan. What explains the timing of this attack? What explains the fact that Modi 3.0 was swearing in, was taking oath while this attack unfolded in Jammu and Kashmir? Should we read in between the lines? Is there more that needs to be answered? Will the dialogue lobby still want talks? That's the question we ask. But before that, let's quickly hear it from the survivors as well. Some of them who recounted the horror unfold right in front of them in Jammu. Listen in.
लगातार फायरिंग हो रहा था, 15-20 मिनट लगातार हुआ और फिर बस भी गिर गया था, खाई में गिर गया। उसके बाद भी वो 5 से 10 मिनट फायरिंग लगातार हुआ था। 3 लोग से कम नहीं थे, 3 लोग लगभग थे।
शिव खोड़ी के दर्शन के लिए गया था और दर्शन करके वापस हम लोग आ रहे थे। 2-3 किलोमीटर बस चली होगी, उसके बाद जो है सामने से हमारे फायर होने लगा और तब से फायर चलता रहा और बस हमारी जो है थोड़ी सी आगे जाकर खाई में पलट गई। 5-6 राउंड गिरने के बाद एक बड़ा पत्थर में जो है बस फंस गया।
गोली चलने के बाद में बस जब नीचे चली गई है, गिर गई बस, उसके बाद में तब भी गोली काफ़ी टाइम चला। तो जो रोड पे जब गाड़ी थी चल रही थी तो सामने से फायरिंग हुआ है। ड्राइवर को गोली लग गई थी, पहले तो उन्हीं को लगा, उसके बाद में कई लोग जो कई जो भक्त लोग थे उनको भी लग गया है।
Let's once again open this up with our experts. Joining us this evening, we have Radhika Khera, spokesperson of the BJP, who continues to stay on with us. Also with us is Sushant Sareen, senior fellow ORF. Shortly, we'll be joined by the spokesperson of the National Conference, Zishan Rana, as well. Mr. Sareen, to you first. You know, it's concerning what we've picked up, and more so given the timing of the same. Would you want to read a little bit into that before we talk about the other aspects that need to be covered, especially this belt of Jammu and Kashmir? Like I said, it was largely covered, it was largely secured the last 2 decades or so. Before that, of course, there was a little bit of militancy that was witnessed here, but largely the last 2 decades, that's not what we've seen here. What do you make of the overall attack and, you know, what the investigative agencies are now trying to unearth, sir?
Look, you're right. For almost 2 decades, this area was relatively peaceful. There were very few incidents which happened out here. The security forces had more or less cleaned this area up. But I think over the last 3 or 4 years, ever since the pressure in the valley increased tremendously, especially after the constitutional reforms in August 2019, the center of gravity and the area of operation has shifted in this belt. And we have seen a spate of attacks taking place in this area, on civilians, on security forces, ambushes and other things which are taking place. Now, this terrain is kind of conducive for some of this activity. And I suspect that, you know, in a manner of speaking, we have been a little lax in understanding that the area has shifted to this, and we need to double down on this area to prevent these kind of actions from happening. So that is one. I think over the last 5-6 months, there has been a shift in focus. But it's not enough as of now. Very clearly, if such incidents happen, that's very clear that that's not enough. The second is on the timing. Again, this is something that was being expected, that the Pakistanis are likely to, and their proxies in Jammu and Kashmir are likely to agitate matters in Kashmir. They will not try not to cross any kind of a threshold, but will keep the pot boiling, right? So this is exactly what has been happening for the last at least 6-8 months, and is likely to continue to happen until you break their back. So that is the second. And this was very clearly a dare to the government which was being sworn in yesterday to do something like this. So that is the second thing. And the third thing, and I think that is something not enough attention has been paid to. The way the elections happened in Jammu and Kashmir, one was the positive part, that there was turnout. It was completely peaceful. In fact, it was more peaceful in Jammu and Kashmir than some other states in the Union. But at the same time, you had the victory of a person who is a separatist, engineer, and who has enthused a lot of people with victory. And I think that is a warning bell, not just in Kashmir, I should add, even in Punjab, where 2 separatists have won elections, and you know, we see manifestations of that Khalistani movement on the streets virtually every day, on social media virtually every day, and normal, ordinary people also endorsing, you know, the lack of discipline in, you know, civilian armed forces and carrying out, you know, the slapgate against an elected MP. So these are worrying signs. I wish we are not in denial. I wish we don't try and brush it under the carpet. I wish we grapple this beast by the horn and we slay this beast before it gets so big that we find it difficult to manage.
It's a flip side to how democracy is thriving in our country, isn't it? The fact that, you know, whoever, regardless of their background, is free to contest elections, and like you said, Mr. Sareen, they've emerged as winners, and that most certainly is a concern for the security establishment. Zishan Rana, which brings me to my next question. What Mr. Sushant Sareen said about the voter turnout in Jammu and Kashmir should be focused on. The fact that we saw people turnout in historic numbers. How can that be sidelined? And then there are those who continue to say we should go ahead with talks with Pakistan. How can you rule out the fact that there is something going on here? There is a Pakistan role that needs to be investigated. What else explains the timing? You have in the national capital the entire cabinet taking oath, and here's what's happening in Jammu and Kashmir.
I think, first of all, I would like to condemn this act of cowardice which has taken the lives of more than 10 people. Our party has always advocated for peace, and I would say that that peace can only be achieved through a meaningful dialogue. On a question which you said that about voter turnout, I would say that even 2014 assembly elections, we saw a turnout of around 70% in Jammu and Kashmir. So I would say that yesterday's incident has exposed government's tall claims of normalcy in Jammu and Kashmir. The areas which were cleared of all militants through the policies and efforts of previous governments see a return of militancy in Jammu and Kashmir. If we go with the government's version of so-called normalcy or peace in Jammu and Kashmir, then why is this happening? Why are bullets being fired? Why are the people getting killed? Why is there terrorism? These all are questions which are to be addressed.
No, I'll put that question out to Radhika, but my simple question is, can you rule out a Pakistan role in this attack? Can you rule out the fact that there's a Pakistan that may have been up to something, especially given the timing?
Definitely, I would say
and
that
can you say no? We've not batted for talks with Pakistan in the past.
We have done it. We have done it. But I would say that Pakistan is responsible for everything. But for that, for return of peace in Jammu and Kashmir, our party has always advocated for peace, and that peace can only be achieved through a meaningful dialogue.
But your party, sir, I'm afraid has not been welcome to the most peaceful changes that the valley has seen either. That's what we've seen on part of your party and other mainstream parties in Jammu and Kashmir, like the PDP as well. But to quickly go across to Radhika once again, Radhika, whatever said and done, the fact that this incident took place, the fact that pilgrims came under attack, the fact that the driver was shot in this bus, then plunged into the gorge, it's left at least 9 people dead, 33 plus people sustaining very serious injuries who are undergoing treatment. There's a lot of answering to do. How was this allowed to happen? Why was this allowed to happen? And something really needs to be done.
We are deeply saddened by the pusillanimous terror attack on Hindu pilgrims that happened, and our heartfelt condolences go out to all those who lost their lives and those who are injured, and we hope and pray for their speedy recovery. Having said that, our government, the Modi government and the BJP government and the NDA government, since 2014, we have been committed to freeing India's democracy from terror, from the scourge of terrorism as well as violence. And we have achieved also. Our government is resolute in its determination to tackle terrorism head on, and we have been doing it, and we ensure that those responsible will face severe, and when I say severe, with the severest consequences under law. We are committed to maintaining peace and security, and we've been doing that. We have zero tolerance policy against terrorism, and we have lived up to it, because in a recent RTI that was put in about terrorism under the UPA regime, there were about 9,321 terror attacks, which came down to about 2,000 odd terror incidents during the Modi government 1 and Modi government 2. So that just shows how our party, our governments have tackled terrorism. And it is very sad that there are still
But can there be denial, Radhika, that a lot more needs to be done? There are perhaps loopholes that need to be fixed, issues that need to be addressed. Maybe troopers need to be strengthened, the kind of ground force that we're seeing, especially in this belt, because as a matter of fact, their deployment has gone down. And that's only because there is a need for a greater deployment in other concerning areas. All of that needs to be relooked at.
Absolutely. See, like I said, although we have broken the backbone of terrorism, there's still a lot that needs to be done, from 9,000 odd terror attacks coming down to 2,000 in 10 years. It is a development, and it takes time, because what we were given a country which had terror attacks happening every other day. There was not one day that went by that there were no terror attacks. And it is very unfortunate that there is still a lobby that says that there should be talks. After a heinous attack that happened in Reasi on pilgrims, just Abhi, small. Where are all those people on social media who are saying all eyes on our, why are all eyes not on Reasi today? Why are those people not talking about, there should not be any talks and there should be only anger. There should not be a lobby which only talks about talks. There has to be decisive actions, and they are doing that. And we have been known in 10 years for doing that.
Okay, the only contention there, of course, being that all of those promises and claims made by the Modi government stand exposed. But quickly shifting our attention, and sorry to interrupt you there, we need to flash some breaking news update coming in. This is big news as per sources. Now we're going to try and track the information coming in. Remember, a cabinet meet underway at 7 Lok Kalyan Marg. What one is wanting to watch out for is, though, who gets which portfolio, which ministry is going to be headed by which neta, are there going to be repetitions from 2019? All of that is something that we're keeping a close watch on. And in the latest, we're learning that Nitin Gadkari may just retain the road transport ministry. So he may retain his earlier portfolio is what we are learning. Not to forget the kind of work that's been done in this aspect is something that's been spoken of across the country. The highways, the roadways, the infrastructure has been spoken of by one and all. And given the performance, perhaps this is a decision that the NDA government may take once again. We may just see a repeat of Nitin Gadkari in charge of this ministry. What we're also learning in all likelihood that Harsh Malhotra may be given MOS road transport. So that is a bit of breaking news update coming in. Big news. Let me go across to Arun Dhanta joining us with more details. Arun, the first name we've accessed so far, Nitin Gadkari, who may just retain his earlier portfolio. What more are you learning?
Well, that's right. That's right. This is the exclusive information which we are getting at this moment, that Nitin Gadkari is going to, retain his last government's portfolio, which is road transport and highways. He's of course going to be the cabinet minister, and the MOS, the junior ministers who are going to be part of this ministry. Ajay Tamta, remember this time around he's been brought back into the Modi Union of Council of Ministers. He was minister in 2014, but he was dropped in 2019. Now he's brought back, and he will be the MOS in road and Transport and Highways Ministry. And also Harsh Malhotra, who made his Lok Sabha debut this time around and won from Delhi. He's also going to be another MOS with Nitin Gadkari. So this is the piece of breaking that we are getting at this moment, which means that in a very short while from now we'll be expecting the full list of the ministers, the Council of Ministers, all of them who took oath yesterday, along with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But this is the big breaking news, because we all were expecting as to what is going to happen this time around. The suspense was around what would be the tinkering which in this NDA 3.0 government will be made. But
so to quickly sum it up once again, Arun, and you can come in with more details you managed to access. This is big news coming in only on CNN News 18. Arun telling us that Nitin Gadkari may very well be repeated as far as the road transport and highways ministry is concerned. So we may just see a repetition there. And to add to that, as far as MOS transport is concerned, two names, Ajay Tamta and Harsh Malhotra. Arun.
That's right. Ajay Tamta is a member of parliament from Uttarakhand. He, as I've been saying, that he was minister in the first Modi government, but he was dropped in the second tenure. But now he's brought back in the Union Council of Ministers, and he will be working alongside with Nitin Gadkari and Harsh Malhotra, of course, from Delhi. He will also be another MOS with Nitin Gadkari. So Nitin Gadkari, who's been working extensively and speaking about his work, that how he wants to change the entire course of roads construction in the entire country. And many people, in fact, have been lauding his efforts that he has done in his ministry. And therefore, perhaps that's the reason why he was given that responsibility once again, as we've been talking about the continuity of this government, whether it is retaining the old senior ministers, but also the portfolios were given to those ministers who's been performing well. So I think it's a positive sign for Nitin Gadkari that he's been retained. He's got his old portfolio on which he has done extensive study. He has gone out on various foreign visits about which he's been speaking about that how he has learned from the experiences of those visits and how he is implementing those things on here in the country. So I think that is the reason why we are seeing the changing scenario of the roads, the highways in the country, and perhaps that's the reason why he's been rewarded or retained his ministry, once again in NDA 3.0.
Well, re-awarded, if I may put it that way, Arun. But let me quickly take in a word from Payal as well. Payal, this is big news coming in here on CNN News 18. This does tell us that there are two aspects that have been looked at very closely by, the current dispensation, that of not just continuity, but also performance.
Well, absolutely. Nobody can question Nitin Gadkari's performance as far as that is really concerned, because Nitin Gadkari has been one of those ministers in the Modi government who's held multiple portfolios. Remember, he was the MSME minister also for some point in time, and he was able to prove his mettle there as well. But this Pragati Ka highway that Nitin Gadkari speaks about, from the length and breadth of the country, I've seen so many opposition leaders also come up to him, and he's been doing everybody's work, irrespective of whichever political party they come from. So obviously Nitin Gadkari is said to be everybody's friend. He's weaving an entire network of highways across the entire country, and he's been trying to look at innovative ways as well. And most importantly, Nitin Gadkari is that kind of a mentor who's also mentored a lot of young talent within the BJP as well. In the earlier portfolios also, he had young MOSs with him, but it's going to be a big opportunity for Harsh Malhotra, who's come up as a first-time member of Parliament from East Delhi, to get a training of sorts under Nitin Gadkari's experience. Nitin Gadkari has been an experienced politician, has been winning for many terms from Nagpur as well. He has been somebody who's held the portfolio of being the party's national president also in the past as well. Is a great resource, is a great man, and has a great penchant for learning. Like Arun was just pointing out, Nitin Gadkari is known to go to places, pick up the best practices and try to put them into place as well. So Nitin Gadkari is of course rewarded, like Arun Dhanta, my colleague, has been reporting, because of his consistent performance, also because of the kind of respect and reputation that he enjoys amongst the public as well. He might not be in the top 4 ministries in terms of home, finance, external affairs and finance, but he of course is a top performing minister nonetheless.
That makes us wonder, Arun, what are the adjustments that the BJP is going to make, that the Prime Minister is going to make in terms of those, the others who've performed? For example, Shivraj Singh Chauhan, now that he finds a mention in the new list and the big wigs, along with the likes of JP Nadda, who's set to retire this month, that's also going to be interesting. So there's going to be a little bit of moving around, isn't it? All of it can't be repetition.
Well, Christine, we'll have to wait for that. I mean, we don't know what exactly Prime Minister Modi has planned for all other. There have been multiple speculations which is going around, but till the time we don't have any final confirmation on that, we will not be able to say anything. Of course, as far as ministers like Amit Shah, Ashwani Vaishnav, Piyush Goyal, what are the roles, what are the portfolios this time around that they are going to get? Last time, of course, we know Rajnath Singh was Defence Minister, Home Minister was Amit Shah, but in this, in Modi NDA 3.0, what is the responsibility and role portfolios they are going to get? We do not know. As we've been speaking about the multiple portfolios in the last government, of course, this time around you have allies with you, so you will have to accommodate them also with some good portfolios. That's what they're expecting. So perhaps you will see, some portfolios, where multiple portfolios were held by one minister. They will be, of course, given to the others as well. So in a way, that responsibility, of course, will be shared, and that responsibility will be relaxed from the one person. But speculation, of course, is something which is spreading.
And another big news coming in, another piece of news coming in. Arun, stay on with us. Aman is getting us more inside scoop on who may be repeated, and we're learning that Rajnath Singh may once again be made in charge of the Defence Ministry. So Rajnath Singh once again is going to be the Defence Minister in all likelihood, is what we're learning. So big news coming in once again. After repetition of Nitin Gadkari, Rajnath Singh is going to be the Raksha Mantri. But before that, let me go across to Harsh Malhotra joining us on the phone line. MOS with us. Mr. Malhotra, we're learning that you're going to be given in charge of MOS road transport. Your first thoughts, sir?
I have got to know from you people only. I am very much thankful for my senior leadership, particularly Prime Minister, Home Minister, and Adharniya Nitin Gadkari ji also. Hello.
Well, yes, sir. Go ahead. I hope our guess is right, sir. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I am very much thankful to all senior leaders and my party also.
You're going to be working alongside Nitin Gadkari and Mr. Ajay Tamta as well. What are your thoughts on that?
This is my good luck that I'll be working under Adharniya Nitin Gadkari ji. He has got a very good vision for the development of the country, particularly highways and other things related to transport. So I am very grateful.
Okay.
And I feel blessed while working with...
And to quickly, before I let you go, Mr. Malhotra, the vision for this ministry, has anything been shared as yet with you?
I think this is a very new thing for me, but at least I can say the vision document put forth by the Bharatiya Janata Party for 2024 for Viksit Bharat of 2047, definitely we are going to abide by that.
Okay, we're also learning, sir, that Rajnath Singh is going to be repeated as the defense minister. So that's another piece of big news coming in. Also, in all likelihood, External Affairs Ministry once again may go to S. Jaishankar. What are your first thoughts on that?
I think they have performed very well and it will be very good for the nation.
Mr. Malhotra, many questions also being asked by the opposition in this case on how this NDA government has come together. The coalition government, many say, is not going to last all that long.
Basically, the people are frustrated a lot nowadays. From the first day, we were saying that NDA is going to form the government and the NDA have started working. So, by saying anything, that's of no use by the opposition, what the people are saying. और अगर मैं हिंदी में कहूँ तो किसियानी बिल्ली खंबा नोच रही है, let them do their work.
And if I may, sir, only if you permit, can I also ask you any insights you would want to share on what transpired in the cabinet meet?
No, I don't know much about that.
Okay.
Because I was not there.
Okay, all right. So that's Harsh Malhotra, MOS Road Transport, sharing his first views with us here on CNN News 18. That's the big breaking news update coming in. Road Transport and Highways to remain with Nitin Gadkari. Also, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh once again chosen as the Defence Minister. We're also learning, as per sources, that S. Jaishankar will be repeated as External Affairs Minister. Not to forget the visuals that we'd accessed a little while earlier today. Remember, S. Jaishankar was seen interacting with the President of Maldives and also the Sri Lankan President, and that in itself was a powerful image of the role that is in store for him. And now we have a confirmation. This is big news coming in on CNN News 18. S. Jaishankar retained as Minister of External Affairs. Arun, we have 3 big names so far, apart from MOS Road Transport, 2 names on that front, and CNN breaking down these exclusive inputs. What does this really mean? A big faith that's being placed once again in the top brass of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and which also goes on to explain once again how decisions have been taken keeping in mind the performance factor.
Well, that's right. So it means there is no big change in the top 4 ministries. You have Rajnath Singh retaining the defense portfolio, S. Jaishankar, of course, getting the external affairs once again. He's somebody who's been, praised about his role, alongside with Prime Minister Modi, the way he worked on the international relations. He used all his expertise that he acquired during his tenure as international foreign services.
Lots of portfolios now. Information on portfolios coming in thick and fast. I'm going to connect back with you. Stay on with me. 3 big announcements, and they're all, viewers, suggestive of continuity. The Prime Minister deciding that continuity is going to be the leitmotif, at least as of now. We're being told that Nitin Gadkari retains his portfolio. He's done fantastic work as Road Transport and Surface Minister. S. Jaishankar, External Affairs Minister, and of course Rajnath Singh, Defence Minister. Under Rajnath Singh, there's been a huge impetus in the privatization of defence manufacturing in the country, viewers. And remember, large number of factories have been set up. The entire realm of Make in India has been backed by the government to such an extent that from cryogenic engine technology up till missile technology, we're even now beginning to make our own big frigates and ships. And this means a huge impetus for the defense sector, continuity there. Remember, Rajnath Singh in a previous avatar, viewers, was Home Minister. So Home and Defense, he's retained his defense portfolio. The other big name, Nitin Gadkari, 80,000 crores on building and upgrading rural roads. He's been holding this portfolio for a decade. He continues for another palpable 5 years. Since 2014, I think 200,000 kilometers of roads have been built, which is about 109 kilometers of roads per month. Now, all of this, viewers, means that over a period of time, these individuals have become extremely familiar